What's up, guys? It's Matt from Upcoming Hip Hop. I'm here with K. Anthony. How you doing today, bro?
I'm good.
Where we at right now? What's the studio called?
We in the dungeon right now. That's what we call it, the dungeon. Just like in the ATL, Outkast and them, they were in the dungeon. Yeah, this is the dungeon part 2.
Dope. Yeah, Flatbush.
Definitely,
So you were born and raised in Brooklyn.
definitely.
What was it like growing up in a diverse city?
To be honest, all I knew was my neighborhood. Like growing up, my mom wouldn't let me go too far. So like, I grew up in the projects, which is Veer, like Vanderveer. It's pretty bad. Like growing up, it's a lot of shootings. I've seen a lot of bad things happen growing up. But I mean, as I got older, being in a diverse city, I started to see more things and started to, reach out to more people and be able to, put out good music.
Word. Do you think growing up in, the birthplace of hip hop was one of the reasons why you make hip hop and why you're into hip hop?
Hell yeah, of course. It's like you come from a place where Jay-Z failed 8 times in this same city and then finally caught his come up and now he's one of the biggest hip hop moguls. Or we come from a place where you see fucking Wu-Tang, they're one of the biggest groups to ever be in hip hop. And it's just like the city, it's definitely the reason why I rap, of course. Like, has a huge influence on me.
For sure. When we were real young, I feel like the New York hip hop scene was just flourishing and like the best that it has ever been. A lot of people say that it's not, number one anymore in the country.
Right.
So like, I guess what are your thoughts on the current state of New York hip hop?
I think we're fucking at a great place. I just feel like the blogs and the internet is not focused on what we're doing. They're so focused on the South and all of that other stuff that's going on out there that they're not really focusing on what's going on out here. It's a lot of great artists coming up, especially around my age. We got people like Jimmy Tense,
Oh yeah, he's dope.
Radimus, NYC Laws, IOD, Yachty. It's a couple other people that's really out here doing their things. On the producer side of things is Dre One, Canis Major. It's just a lot of good things coming out of this city, basically.
Word, yeah. Okay, so speaking of like blogs and stuff, not showing really the New York younger kids love, I guess what are your thoughts on the XXL list that came out this morning?
I liked it, to be honest. I didn't have any problem because I see those artists, they really work their ass off, a lot of them. And, they might not be the most lyrical artists, but they're definitely some of the, they really work their ass off. Like, we watched them come up, Lil Yachty, Lil Uzi, Dave East, Anderson .Paak. Those are great artists. I think Dave East is pretty lyrical too, and he's from New York.
Yeah.
And he's really doing his thing. We got somebody from our city that's like #1 on the charts right now, Designer. I think the list was pretty accurate in terms of popularity and how hard people have worked.
For sure. If you could do a collab with anyone on the cover, who would it be?
Dave East off Rip.
Okay. So let's, I guess, rewind to when was the first time music entered your life that you remember?
I would have to say I was about 7. My aunt was playing a lot of Buju Banton around me. Lauryn Hill. She had a heavy musical influence growing up, so she also brought it into my life. Like, I listened to so much albums because of my aunt. My mom was just more on the fence of playing oldies, 70s music and things of that nature, but my aunt, she, when it came to hip-hop, she was a real big fan. She played a lot of that growing up around me, so I was always influenced by that. And my older brother, he I think the first hip-hop album I ever learned top to bottom was Ludacris, Word of Mouth, because of him.
Yeah, that's one of mine too, actually.
Yeah, he had that playing around me every day. That and Get Rich or Die Trying when it first dropped. So I think that was definitely dope.
Okay, so I was reading your bio before I headed over here, and you mentioned how you really look up to Kendrick and Jay-Z. Is that musically, or both music and what they do outside of music?
Jay-Z, I love his music, but more on the side of it as a business mogul. I like what he does as a businessman, and I think me as an artist, like all that I've accomplished, it came from me being an independent artist and like being a businessman myself, or trying to get to his level.
Yeah, for sure.
And of course with Kendrick, yeah, that's one of my favorite rappers. It's not hard to tell. Like I love Kendrick.
Okay, so who are, I guess, your favorite artists from New York? That, I guess, rappers that you look up to?
Of course, Biggie, Jay, Big L, Redman, Method Man, and I mean, can we choose Pac because he's from Harlem?
Yeah.
Alright, Pac also.
Alright. So, yeah, I've also noticed a lot of, young kids like yourself, the next generation of hip-hop. You guys really are, like, bringing it back to the roots,
Definitely.
real hip-hop, street rap type stuff. Why do you think that, the younger generation is, really coming forward with this kind of the older, I don't want to say old sound, but it's not like the new wave of like rap that we're hearing on the radio and what's popular?
I feel like it's not something intentional, like we all just want to do boom bap or whatever. That's what we grew up on. That's what we know. Like, to us, that's real hip hop. Even though, like, there's not really a such thing as real hip hop, because it's all, everybody has their own story at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just what we grew up on, and I feel like that's why we tend to make that type of music. So, yeah.
For sure. If you, I guess, do you want to stay independent or do you want to get signed? Is that one of your goals?
It depends.
If the deal is right.
Nah, I wouldn't sign to any super major label. I would want to sign to an independent label that, has their own thing going, like TDE, Mass Appeal, and a few others that's just running off of their own, power.
For sure. So last year you released Vices and Vanity. I guess just tell me about how you came up with the title for that, and like I guess what the overarching theme of the album is.
It's a super religious album. It's not religious, but it is. Like, the theme is basically religious, but I came up with the album title because that's what I was doing. I was committing sins throughout my life, and I decided to record it. And the vanity is just, indulging into wanting to have fly clothes, new kicks, all of that extra shit. My aunt used to say the word vanity. Like, she used to say I'm so into vanity all the time because I always wanted to be fly growing up and shit. And I just took that and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make this into an actual album. I'm going to take all my sins and give it to people so they can learn lessons from it, basically, and not, do the same mistakes as me.
For sure. I thought it was really interesting, the album cover, how you had, the devil horns and the halo.
Right.
And then why both? Because are you very religious and try to follow like a good path, but at the same time you got
definitely
sinning on the side?
It's that, and I also wanted to do with the what I wanted to do with the album cover basically was, that's your image of me, basically. Like, people on the outside listening to the album be like, damn, this nigga did a lot of fucked up shit in his life, or he got into a lot of fucked up situations in his life, and I wanted people to just like, paint their own image of me. So I put a halo and a horn. It's whatever you decide to pick up at the end of the album. When you listen to it, it's like, oh, is he an angel or is he the devil at the end of the day?
Okay, so for the new album, The Man That I Am Now, you lost the horns and you and all your friends have halos.
Right.
Is this like a continuation or like part 2 of the first album?
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a continuation of where I left off. Basically, The Man That I Am Now is touching topics that I didn't necessarily get to touch in Vices and Vanity. Some parts in Vices and Vanity was a lot of, it had some sort of fiction in it. So with this, I wanted to put my actual real life, things that I was going through, a lot of things that I went through growing up, like being in the shelter, like growing up there for like a year in Brownsville, watching my pops go away for 9 years in jail for selling cocaine and shit and getting caught up with the DEA. Just a whole lot of other stuff that I didn't get to put on Vices and Vanity. I put on Hair, and it was just like Hair. Like
Okay.
this album is like the truth, basically, of
Okay.
everything I didn't get to say.
Who were the people on the album cover with you? Are those like your closest friends? Or?
My best friends I grew up with since junior high school, like all of them have been my friends since about the 6th grade. And I was just like, I'm gonna include you guys in most of the things that I'm doing now, because they always like, man, you doing all of this stuff and you don't ever include me in this shit. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like you moving funny. It's like, nah, it's never that. I want to show them that, like, whatever I'm doing or whatever I can accomplish, you can accomplish too. So I'm making them be a part of everything I do now.
Okay, so when does the album come out?
June 27th.
Okay, and then I guess what can we expect after the album comes out? Are you planning on, starting to do shows, or
Definitely, it's a lot
just
of
back to more music?
It's a lot of shows that's gonna happen. We're actually right now in the talks of my homie Brandon Puckett. He's putting together a show with Lil Yachty and Lil Uzi that we're doing on July 21st, if I'm not mistaken. And it's me and another Brooklyn native named Yachty and another Bronx native named A Boogie.
Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds so. All right, so I'm gonna ask you some rapid fire questions. Try to answer them, as fast as you can. What city are you repping?
Brooklyn.
Describe your sound in one word.
Soulful.
What was the first album you fell in love with?
Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
What were you listening to earlier today?
Righteous by Radical.
What was the best show you've ever been to?
A Kendrick Lamar show in 2014.
Favorite Netflix show?
Jessica Jones.
Drink of choice?
Grape soda.
Dream collab with any artist?
Kendrick Lamar.
Producer?
Just Blaze.
Okay. And I guess that's all I got, unless you wanna, give some shout outs to I'm sure you got a good list.
Shout out to my mom, my pops, all of my friends that's here right now. Dre, Uhuru, Diz, my bro Trey, Dre, Smack, Ty, Ra. I can't think of everybody right now. Shout outs to everyone. Y'all know who y'all are in my life.
Yeah, you can expect the album review once it drops on June 27th.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I am now.